Hey guys, this is the Media Men. I'm Keegan,
I'm Ben.
and this week was episode 6 of Flash and Arrow. Now, Flash was amazing, I thought, so we're just gonna kickstart it off real quick here, and let's see what we thought about the episode. What about you, Ben? What'd you think?
Oh, I loved it. It was really great. I heard some complaints that it started off kind of slow, but I thought it the pacing was perfect. It escalated into the second half of the episode where Zoom was just being a complete terror, and it was great.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing of the episode, of course. Zoom was terrifying, I thought. He looked so menacing, and his gloves had claws on them.
Yeah. The way he paraded Barry around after he basically just kicked his shit in.
That fight was insane. When he caught that lightning bolt, holy shit.
That was amazing. I don't even know if that's possible, but I don't care because it was so cool.
No, I don't know if it's possible, but I really did not care at all through the episode. I was just like, oh, I'm completely fine with that because this is a comic book show, and that's the kind of comic book action I want to see.
Oh, absolutely. I like how they tried to use science to solve the problem, like the velocity or whatever. That was pretty cool. But then
that was very clutch of Barry just to run up, and then he got a couple good punches in.
Yeah, but then Zoom pretty quickly overpowered him.
Well, once he was able to run quickly again, I think he had all the more fighting skills and just completely manhandled Barry.
Oh, man, he broke him. Literally.
Literally broke his back. Now Barry's paralyzed.
Yeah, that's insane.
I can't imagine Barry being paralyzed. We know that episode 8 is the Flash and Arrow crossover, so I feel like Barry has to get his legs back in the next episode, but maybe not. Maybe it's part of the 2-part crossover that
it could be
get his legs back.
I wonder how they're gonna solve that. They haven't told us why he can't feel his legs because Caitlin said everything was fine, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. I thought his back was broken though. Maybe something dislodged, just something just didn't connect back right. Maybe they'll have to break his back again and set it in place.
Yeah.
I feel like that would hurt a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know why. Maybe they'll go into more detail in the next episode as to why his back's not working. But the episode was very, very good. I also enjoyed the Barry and Patty Spivot chemistry.
That was really good. I like how Barry kind of not so much stood her up because they didn't have plans or anything, but told her no, I can't do this after Joe put her down to plans, and then Barry just came back and was like, screw it. I like you. You make me happy. Let's kiss.
Let's kiss. That was great. I wonder how he's going to explain the broken back to her. That'll be interesting because they're supposed to get dinner the next night.
Yeah, that's something that I really am interested to see how they pull that off because they were supposed to get dinner, so she's clearly a good enough detective to realize that he's paralyzed.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
They are at Star Labs, so maybe they have some crazy contraption that'll help him walk.
It's possible, hopefully. We'll find out soon in the next episode or two, probably.
Then again, Eobard Thawne as Harrison Wells, they didn't try to do anything to get his legs back.
Yeah, but they didn't set him up to... Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying the whole team. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's not a cure for that. So maybe it's psychological or something.
Yeah, it definitely could be. But I thought Iris had some really good logic with Linda about that whole thing when Barry was like, we can't do it. It's too risky. And Iris was just like, come on, we can do it. I was just like, all right. It made sense. I'm glad that Barry was the one doubting the plan, but then Iris was the one to be like, it's okay. We should let her decide because this involves her as much as it involves anyone else.
Yeah, and she knows from personal experience how people making the decisions for you is frustrating. Speaking of which, I thought the humor in the episode was really good. I thought all the stuff with Linda Young was really, really funny. When she put on the Dr. Light costume and they did the training and stuff. That was great.
Yeah, she was very funny. Just completely terrible. And her acting skills, she was talking in the comms was that good? Was that okay? And then they were like, tone it down a little bit. That's a little overboard. I think anyone could realize that you're completely faking it right now.
Yeah, so Zoom was probably watching the whole time.
Yeah, I'm guessing he was there and he knew the fight was happening, so he would be able to tell because he knew and grabbed Linda and said, you're fishing for bait? I can do that too.
Yeah. I like that line. Yeah, so he definitely knew.
But also, I mean, another big thing is Barry revealed his identity to Linda.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. He seemed to do it. I mean, I understand why he did it, but he just kind of did it, and then I was like, oh, okay. There was no like, wasn't a thing. It wasn't a moment. It was just like, oh, I'm revealing my identity. I don't know. It didn't feel very special.
No, I agree, but I think a big part of that has to do with kind of the tone of what they're setting up, at least in this episode, that Barry's being more reckless and just going into fights and getting himself into positions he knows he can't win. But, I mean, it goes along with revealing his identity, even though he's not 100% positive that's a good idea or what effects that could have, because he's just kind of flying off the hinges trying to get revenge for something, I think, is what Joe pointed out earlier in the episode.
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense. I think that was what they were doing. I like how Zoom just completely overpowered him. That was so intense.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure how they were going to make Zoom in comparison to Reverse Flash and fighting skills and techniques and stuff, but I mean, he's clearly leagues above Barry. I'm guessing he just I know he has more abilities that haven't been revealed to us yet, the creator said. So
Interesting.
we're going to find out a lot more about what he can do and what he's actually capable of.
Oh man, I can't wait. He's like a demon. He's crazy. I like he's really really imposing on screen, and they're already doing such a good job with that.
Yeah, even Cisco was like, that's not a man, that's a demon. Get him out of there. Like, as soon as Zoom showed up and he saw what Zoom actually was, he instantly off the back was like, that's not someone you want to fight. That's not a person. That's a monster.
Yeah, that's. At first, I was like, "Is he a monster now?" But I realized it was just like metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, and we also know for a fact that Harrison Wells is not Zoom.
Yeah, we do because we saw them in two completely separate locations. I never thought he was Zoom, but
I didn't think so either, but I think it was pretty solid confirmation this episode that his ulterior motive is his daughter, and it's nothing more than that.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, there might be a little bit more, but I think it's mainly just his daughter. And speaking of which, on Harrison Wells, I liked the whole part where they were trying to get the vibe on him or whatever. They were trying to.
That was hilarious when Caitlin was like, try again. And he's like, well, I think he's on to me. When clearly Harrison Wells went up to him and was literally just like, I know you're trying to vibe on me. Stop it. So
That was so great. It's really funny how he's such a jerk, but you still like him anyway.
Jerk.
Yeah, he's like a charismatic jerk, and he's on the good guy's side ultimately.
Yeah,
he wants to stop Zoom just as much as them, and he has a huge stake in stopping Zoom. So
yeah, I think it's really interesting that, you know, this is the first time that Cisco's ever vibed, and then it didn't take him to like the location of the person he's vibing to. It took him to his daughter.
Yeah, that was interesting. I guess he can find out what he wants to know.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm sure the more he develops his powers, the more he'll be able to control exactly what is being vibed on, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
I really liked also the wind catch when Zoom dropped Linda.
Oh, that was
the
so
edge.
smart. I thought he was gonna try to catch her with his arms, and I was like, Barry, you idiot, what are you doing? And then he did the wind. I was like, okay.
Just slowed her down. And it was really cool because a lot of shows, especially when people can fly, they just like catch them out of midair, and that would literally just like smush them.
Yeah, I mean, if you were strong enough to the point where you could catch them with no resistance, it would be like them hitting the concrete.
Exactly. So I mean, I like that they showed him slowing her down, and that was kind of a cool sciencey thing that a lot of people don't think about when they see superhero saves off ledges.
Yeah, you kind of have to use the momentum and disperse the shock. So you can catch them, but you don't just you don't let them fall into your arms.
No, that would not end well.
No, not at all. But yeah, so I really like that. It was pretty inventive. I like that Barry tried to throw the lightning at Zoom again, but Zoom's too fast for that. He's fast enough to catch lightning.
Yeah, like
that's crazy.
I mean, obviously, he's definitely moving faster than the speed of light there.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
he stopped light and then just
he
grabbed
caught
it.
Light. He caught it.
Caught a bolt. Just
Jesus.
threw it back at Barry. I was like, as soon as I saw him do that, I was like, this fight is ending so badly.
I know. I wasn't expecting him to do that. I thought he was gonna get that one good hit in, but nope. He caught the lightning.
I thought for sure there was going to be some sort of like struggle back and forth, but it wasn't. It was like
No,
almost
Zoom manhandled him.
100% a one-sided fight, if you can call it a fight.
Man, it was just so well done, that whole part. I was very, very much entertained. I think this is my favorite episode again of the season. I keep saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying that lightning catch, that was so awesome. I think that alone makes it my favorite episode of the season.
Yeah, that was like the most comic booky moment, but it was they did it so right. It could have been so cheesy in the wrong moment, but the way they executed it was like, it was perfect.
Yeah, speaking of cheesiness, I did think there was one line in this episode that was kind of cheesy when Earth 2 Harrison Wells was talking to his daughter in the flashback, and then she finds out that he's like the one who created the metahumans, and then he's like, go get to class, and she's like, I've had my education for today. And I was just like, that was a little cheesy, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with her sentiment, or I understand her sentiment, but the line itself was cheesy. So it is interesting that his daughter is Jessie Quick.
Yeah.
So that means she's definitely gonna live.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that they're just using a comic book name, and she doesn't actually have any abilities or powers. But, I mean, it's safe to say that it's always an option for her to become a metahuman of sorts.
Yeah, I think she will eventually. I don't know if she will this season.
But also, speaking of the Earth 2 flashbacks, the little Easter egg with Robert Queen being the Green Arrow.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. I think that was a call to Flashpoint.
Yeah, it was definitely a call to Flashpoint, because we know it's kind of a twisted, terrible world to live in.
Yeah. Though, I mean, their world doesn't seem terrible. I think it was more like...
Yeah. They're taking inspiration from Flashpoint, obviously, with that. Or just thought it would be fun.
Yeah, I think it was meant as an Easter egg with... Since Bruce Wayne was the one that died in Flashpoint. And, spoiler, I guess. And, Thomas Wayne became Batman instead, so it was kind of the twist on that.
I think actually in Flashpoint, though, in the comics, Robert Queen is also the Green Arrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Interesting. I didn't know that, but nonetheless, very, very cool stuff. I don't know. I was very satisfied with this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it created tension, even though you know Barry can't die, but I was still on the edge of my seat the whole time, like, holy crap, he's gonna kill him, oh my god.
Usually, with people with superpowers, it's really hard to create that sort of tension where their life feels in danger, and they did a really, really good job with that, so that was awesome. Like I said before, like, I thought Barry, like he might die. I mean, like, you know in the back of your head that he can't die, but, like, in the moment while you're watching it, I'm like, this guy's completely messing him up. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I like how Zoom is so, like, arrogant, and he doesn't just want he doesn't want to just be the fastest. He wants to show everyone he's the best.
Yeah, I mean, he was just around. Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. He was just parading Barry around the whole city and saying, this is who you look up to, this is who you think's going to save you, and then it was just like, nope.
Man, that was pretty brutal. I didn't expect them to get that brutal. It just, for some reason, it felt, when you're watching these shows, usually it's like there's kind of a back and forth, but with this, it was just like he just messed him up so bad that it was very, very brutal for the Flash as a show.
It was. And I mean, when he stabbed him through the stomach and like broke his spine, I was just like, oh man, that hit to the back just like,
I was like, something's broken when that happened.
You saw it and you're just like, oh, that's it, he's done.
He's donezo.
Yeah, I can't wait for next week though. I think it's going to be interesting to have to see the Flash team use their wits, I guess, in order to defeat Grodd now, because Barry won't have his speed. And that's very, like, good matchup, I think, because Grodd is such a intellectual villain that it's good to have an episode where you need to use your wits to defeat him.
Oh, definitely. I'm very much looking forward to next week's episode with Grodd. I wonder how Barry is going to participate in the episode, since he can't, like, do anything physically.
Yeah, looks like he's out of commission, at least for an episode.
So we've gushed over the episode for a little bit now. Was there anything you felt that wasn't that great about the episode?
No, I mean, I mentioned that cheesy line earlier, but other than that, I was most engaged through this episode than any of the episodes this season yet. And I think a lot of it had to do with the first showdown between Barry and Zoom, just to see Zoom's, even a smidge of Zoom's power.
Oh yeah, I mean, me too. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was definitely more invested in this episode than I have been for any of the previous episodes for the season. If I had one complaint, it would be Joe. I think he's being a little irrational with some of the things he was saying at points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just bothered me a little bit, but I mean, I can understand where he's coming from. I'm just really tired of people saying Harrison Wells did this and Harrison Wells did that and Harrison Wells didn't do anything. Harrison Wells died.
Like when Joe said he's wearing the face of the man that killed your mother. First of all, that is not the face of the man that killed your mother. He didn't even take over Harrison Wells' his body until he had killed Barry's mother. So it's not even the face that killed Barry's mother. So that I agree. It did bother me a little bit.
Exactly. That was weird.
But I think that wraps it up for Flash here. So moving on to Arrow, I thought that it was another good episode, but not quite as good as Flash in my opinion.
Oh no. I mean, I thought Flash was amazing. That was some of the best television I've watched in a while.
Yeah.
Arrow was good. I had more problems with this episode than I have had so far in the season.
Yeah, me too. There are a couple things that stood out specifically to me, such as Felicity out of nowhere just completely going off. And I understand she was under a lot of stress from the whole Ray thing, but I think that, she was emotional beyond that point almost. And I guess she felt like some of it was her fault that she wasn't there to receive Ray's messages. But I don't think that anyone would have assumed that it's Ray contacting you. Like, why would you assume that? You think he's dead. There was an explosion. You know nothing about the nanotechnology that allows him to shrink to a microscopic size. But so I don't understand where she was coming from, but
I mean, I understand her perspective. So she was so wrapped up in Oliver that she didn't worry about anything else that was going on. But the problem I had with that was that there's no way she could have known. But I guess she was like, well, if I'm so wrapped up in you that I don't know what else is going on, then blah, 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 blah. I mean, I understood. I just think she was definitely being irrational. And I don't think the show is trying to portray her as having a reasonable argument. I think they were showing that she was being irrational because they had her mom come in and say all the right things that I completely agreed with.
Yeah, and I think that as much as I didn't like Felicity being very super emotional for, what felt like came out of nowhere, it might have been justified with that awesome bro moment between Diggle and Oliver.
Oh yeah, that moment was so great. I'm so glad to see them be friendly. We haven't had a moment like that since I guess Oliver took the card, but this felt more like those guys are friends, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, he was giving him relationship advice and stuff. He knew that he's been in a situation where his wife or whoever is being irrational, and he gave him, good advice. And he was just like, yeah, just let her have some space. She'll work it out. So I really like that. And then, they had a drink, and it definitely did feel like old times. That looked like two best friends giving each other real advice.
Yeah. I liked all the action. I liked this, like what they were trying to do in the episode. It was just Felicity's reaction. She was stressed out, understandably, but I think she was way too hard on Oliver and herself. But, that got resolved by the end of the episode. I thought this was something that was going to be dragged out, and I'm really glad they addressed it right away. That's something the Flash has been doing a lot of. They bring up something that's questionable, and then they give you an explanation and an answer. So I think that the Arrow writers are trying to do something similar.
Yeah, but I did think it was really odd the first time I saw it that they brought Sarah with them. I mean, she's been alive again for 72 hours maybe, and they've already brought her on a mission that could involve her killing people.
No, I agree with you. I thought it was a terrible idea. And then the second time they were like, Theo was like, is this a good idea? And then we as an audience were like, definitely not.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't you do it.
Like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand Sarah's logic either. I guess she was like, I want to see if I can hold back, but like...
That's dumb. You're putting people's lives at risk. You don't get to test your theory.
Yeah, like, oh, will I kill this guy? I don't know. Let's see. Like, just no, just don't do it. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're gonna have to kill people. I mean, when you're fighting, you're already in a mindset of you have to beat this other person up to incapacitate them. But I mean, incapacitate isn't very far from kill. So I just that leap didn't make any sense to me. I was just like, no, it's a terrible idea. As soon as she like went and they let her a second time, and I guess you could argue that if they had said no, you can't come with us, she might have gone off the handles and just decided to go back out on her own, which may have been worse. So I mean, I don't know, she just seemed very illogical to me. There was a couple characters that seemed that way, you know, her and Felicity.
I don't know if there's much they could do in the situation. I think that argument is more right than not. I mean, they could do that. She would have gone off anyways, and then there wasn't much they could have done anyways, so I guess better to keep her around.
I also didn't understand her leaving either, though. Like, you should be near your friends who give you the most, like, moral and social support that you need to get back on track.
Yeah, I'd be more critical of that if I hadn't seen people in real life act in that sort of way. So, not that it's rational, but it's like, from a character, I don't think that decision is beyond the realm of possibility.
No, I don't think so either. It just struck out as illogical to me.
Yeah, I think they kind of tried to rush through her arc so they could get her on to start getting ready for Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, it seemed that way. So I wonder what kind of mindset she's going to be in Legends of Tomorrow now, because is she going to, figure stuff out by the time Legends of Tomorrow comes around, you think?
I think she'll be in a better place. I mean, she's going to be the White Canary, so maybe that is supposed to signify something. Yeah, I mean, I guess those were the two weirdest things about the episode, but I mean, overall, I still enjoyed it. I love that Felicity's mom and Captain Lance.
Oh, that's great. I think that would be such a fun pairing.
Yeah, I love that. I think that would be awesome.
I couldn't imagine what Lance would say if he starts seeing Felicity's mom and then finds out that it's Felicity's mom.
It's going to be a point of contention, but it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
I like the flashbacks as well. We got a few more of them in this episode than I think we have been getting. They were really short, but they cut back more.
Yeah, they were. It seemed like there were less of them this episode, but also it was interesting to see that Ryder is more interested in something else other than just that artifact. He's interested in a bigger, better artifact, perhaps?
I have no idea what's up with him. I'm just waiting for when they all find out Oliver's not working for them.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
I don't understand the guy's plan in getting that guy to attack Oliver. He was like, how do you plan to explain this body? And Oliver has a very good reason. The guy just attacked me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the other guy had no problem killing other people whenever necessary for even stupid reasons. So I don't understand why it would be at all odd that Oliver would kill someone.
Yeah, so I think they'll probably explain it more. It just seemed kind of weird that he thought that was a good idea. But maybe there's more to it that we're missing.
I also think that they were going hard on Oliver for seeming soft, and now when he kills somebody, he's too rough.
Yeah, very weird. I still enjoyed those scenes, but I thought it was odd with them doing that. I don't know. I think they'll go into it a little bit more, or I hope they do.
One thing that I did notice, I mean, this is just a very small detail, but in their new Arrow Cave, or Arrow Lair, or whatever you want to call it, they have a round table in there. So it's just interesting to see how they formed from Oliver being this like clear leader of this group to now everyone having a more equal say, and I thought that was kind of symbolic.
Yeah, probably was. That's very interesting. I don't know if I said probably, but I don't know if the show creators intended that, but that'd be good. I hope they intended that.
I feel like, they had to pick out what they wanted to put in this new layer, so I feel like if they went with a big round table, it's I don't know. That's just how I interpreted it.
Well, I think round tables in general are just practical.
Yeah, they're better for communicating, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I don't really have much to say about this episode. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, that one bit at the end, or not at the end, at the beginning when Felicity's partner didn't recognize that, or I guess not partner, but, employee didn't recognize Oliver, didn't think he had the right chin. I thought that was a pretty funny moment.
Yeah, no, I like that too. It's you know, a lot of people complain with the superhero shows, like how don't they recognize them? I don't think that people put into perspective that we kind of have a bird's eye view of the situation. So we know Oliver is Arrow, we know Arrow is Oliver. With everything that's gone on, especially with the instances where the Arrow's been out without Oliver in the costume, and Oliver clearly in a separate location, I think it's really easy to see how psychologically they might not be able to tell it's that person. You know,
Yeah.
like it's because we already know that it's Oliver that allows us to see through the facade so much easier. But I think if we were in this situation, we would be experiencing the same sort of psychological manipulation, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I thought it was just a funny moment at the very least. A nice side bit. I think this kind of telling us that he's probably not going to find out that Oliver is the Arrow for at least a little while.
Yeah, not until he becomes Mr. Terrific.
No. I mean, once he becomes a superhero, he's got to form up with the group.
Yeah. I like his character a lot. He's a lot of fun in general. I like whenever he's on screen.
I may have just missed it, but did they explain how Dark found Ray and put him in that little box?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, no. They did. They picked up his distress signal, and then they went and got him.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I thought that was interesting that they found him. It was kind of a weird plot twist that I didn't expect. I just expected Ray to be small. I didn't think he was going to be. I mean, obviously, I knew from the trailer of this episode that Dark was the one holding him, but before this season, I didn't think that. I thought he would just be small.
Oh, I mean, I completely missed that part of the trailer, I guess, but I definitely thought he was just gonna like be in Palmer Tech Industries and they would just find him there. I didn't think about that. I remember watching the scene, and then Arrow's on the roof, and then he just gets knocked out by this guard after being all stealthy, and I was like, what the hell? How did he not see that coming? And then like 5 minutes later, after the commercial break, you're like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
No, I thought the same thing. I was like, what? Come on, it's Oliver. But then, it was Diggle. But I did think the action in this episode was good, and the choreography looked awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a very, very enjoyable piece of television. It just didn't quite hit those high notes that the Flash episode did. Yeah, do you know what Damien Dark was looking at and grinning at the end of the episode? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I felt like they built it up to be some huge reveal, but, I mean, I don't know what it is. So
I don't know what it is either. I mean, like, I have no idea what it's supposed to be.
I guess they want you to, like, the curiosity to get you back, but I thought as a cliffhanger goes, I mean, it would have been cooler to see something, know what it does, or if he had been talking about some weapon of mass destruction, but for all I know, that could be a fucking solar panel.
Yeah, I mean, as far as cliffhangers go, it didn't do much in the way of wanting to see what's next. I mean, I want to see what's next anyways, but it wasn't an oh god, what is that? It wasn't an oh shit cliffhanger moment or anything.
Oh, look at that piece of software.
Yeah, I just didn't know what it was. But, I enjoyed it. I don't really have anything else to say about this episode.
Nope, I thought it overall was a good episode. I think next episode will also be good. But really, I can't wait for Flash because I think this episode this week knocked it out of the park and stole the show. So I'm really excited to see where they go with him and his paralysis.
Yeah, The Flash is becoming one of the best shows on television, period. It's really good.
And we watch a lot of TV, so we would know.
Yeah, a lot. Probably too much, but,
No much is too much. But I think that wraps it up here at the KBL various headquarters. So if you like this video, hit like, hit subscribe, let us know what you thought. What'd you think of this episode? Are you more excited for Flash or Arrow next week? Comment below and let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Give us a subscribe, share us with your friends. That'd be fantastic. And I think Media Man out.
Subscribe!